Let's talk about analyzing text structures. What does it mean to analyze text structures? Analyzing text structures means we look at the way a reading selection is organized. We will look at 5 common text structures. Number 1 is descriptive. A text with a descriptive structure will start with a topic, and then the author will describe that topic one trait at a time. For example, let's say the author wants to write about cereal. They could start by talking to you about Trix. They could describe Trix as being fruity, colorful, and crunchy. They could then go on to talk to you about Cocoa Puffs. They could say that Cocoa Puffs were chocolatey, brown, and round. Then they might continue writing about Cheerios. They could describe Cheerios as being like little tiny donuts, tasting a little bit like oatmeal, and being tan in color. They might then tell you about Fruit Loops. They could say that Fruit Loops also look a little like tiny little donuts, and that they're crunchy and they're fruity. Because you know the selection will be structured in a predictable way, you will read with purpose. Research shows this will help you remember more of what you read. That's pretty neat, huh? Number 2 is sequence. A text with a sequence structure will follow a timeline. It will look something like first, then, and finally. Recognizing a sequence structure will help you remember what happens and when it happens. Number 3 is compare and contrast. A text with a compare and contrast structure will discuss the similarities and differences of 2 topics. It's sort of like creating a Venn diagram when you compare 2 topics and you contrast the 2 topics, but it's in a selection instead. Recognizing a compare and contrast structure will help you understand more about both topics as you read. Number 4 is problem and solution. Problem and solution is another common text structure. The author will present a problem and then share a solution to the problem. It's a little like putting the pieces of a puzzle together. Recognizing this text structure will cause you to understand the problem better and keep focused to find the solution. Number 5, cause and effect. The cause and effect structure is very common in historical and scientific writing. This text will tell you that because of one thing happening, another thing happened. You're looking for the cause that made the effect occur. Recognizing cause and effect while you read will help you understand why things happen, which helps with your comprehension. Why is recognizing text structures important? Recognizing text structures is super important because this gives you lots of simple tools to make it easier to understand what you read. Different text structures give you different tools, and those tools help you see important information easier. Recognizing text structures will also take some pressure off your brain by making things clearer in your mind. Sometimes the author will use keywords or phrases that can also help you recognize the text structure. Descriptive text keywords might be words like, for example, most important, for instance, such as, in addition, a feature of, or a characteristic. Sequence text keywords could be words like first, second, next, dates, initially, finally, not long after, now, following, before, after, and when. Compare and contrast text keywords could be words like similar, different, although, however, but, similarly, while, on the other hand, just like, and yet. Some problem and solution text keywords could be words like one reason, the question, the problem, the result, difficulty, solve, help, and the answer. Cause and effect keywords could be words like causes, effects, because, for this reason, consequence, produces, in order to, if, then, this leads to, and therefore. Let's practice with some examples. Let's read this selection. Native American tribes who lived on the Central Plains had to move from place to place to follow the migrating herds. Since they could not build permanent homes, they invented the teepee, which allowed them to move their homes from place to place. Can you recognize this text structure? Was there a problem? Yes, the problem was that they could not build permanent homes. Was there a solution? Yes, the solution was that they invented the teepee. Yes, this is a problem and solution text. Let's try another one. According to a study conducted in 1988, students spend less than 2% of their free time reading. This concerns many teachers because they know the harmful effects that will occur if children choose not to read. Students who do not read will struggle with school, and school will become more difficult each year. Many students who do not do well in school do not go to college. Consequently, they tend to have lower paying jobs. There are several negative effects for students who choose not to read during their free time. Research shows that students who do read in their free time do well in school, score high on achievement tests, and tend to go to college and get higher paying jobs. There are numerous positive effects for students who choose to spend their free time reading. Do you recognize this text structure? Is something happening in this selection? Yes, some students are not getting very high-paid jobs when they're adults. Is this because of something? Yes, it is because they're not reading, so they're not doing well in school. Yes, this is a problem with a solution. Here's a recap of what we've just learned. Recognizing text structures means we understand how the author has set up the text. 5 common text structures are descriptive, sequence, compare and contrast, problem and solution, and cause and effect. Recognizing these text structures gives us several tools to help us understand and remember what we read. Text structures are important, so we should make it a habit to recognize the text structures when we start to read. Congratulations! You've just leveled up your reading knowledge and you're ready to practice the strategy of analyzing text structures.